A painted turtle takes a trip to the eye doctor.
I don't know, I've never taken the eye out of a turtle before, so I don't know if we could even do that.
A raccoon's run-in with a peanut butter jar.
It's great knowing that you can't bite. Keep her locked.
And the prickly business of examining a porcupine.
Ow! Can you pull that quill out of my hand? Thank you.
It's known as the city within a park. The Greater Toronto Area is home to one of the most diverse urban wildlife populations in North America. Here, more than 6 million busy humans live alongside 350 different species of wild animals. When wildlife clashes with urban life, it's usually the animals who lose. That's when Toronto Wildlife Centre steps in, saving animals one day at a time. It's summertime, and that's high season for injured turtles. Female turtles leave the safety of their swampy homes in search of a sandy place to lay their eggs. Too often, what they find is the sandy shoulder of a highway, and it's not too hard to imagine what happens then. Between 50 to 60 injured turtles arrive at Toronto Wildlife Centre every year.
Our next one is a painted turtle. It came in.
Aaron Archer, one of the center's wildlife rehabilitation supervisors, is consulting with veterinarian Dr. Heather Reed about a painted turtle with a complicated injury.
Presumed hit by car. It was found lying on the road.
Okay.
Aaron is worried that the turtle may have lost the use of one eye.
There's a couple minor scuffs on the plastron, nothing that looks all that severe. Some blood from the mouth. The right eye was bulgy. I'm not sure if it's intact. There's a lot of swelling around the eye as well.
So is that one of our big concerns then, the eye?
That would be.
Okay.
Turtles may be slower than most patients, but that doesn't make them any easier to examine.
So turtles, when they're scared, will oftentimes retract their limbs and their head into their shell, which can make it a little bit difficult to take a look at their eyes. So hopefully she'll be cooperative.
So we know that this is a lady turtle. Painted turtles, you can actually tell the gender based on the claws on their feet here. The males tend to have longer claws than the females. However, we have x-rayed her and we see that she is gravid.
Yes, she said gravid. That means pregnant in turtle.
This is the time of year when they're on the move, trying to find a suitable place for them to lay their eggs, to bury them under the ground in sandy soil, and so they're often they're at risk of being hit by cars at this time of year. And so this is actually where she was found, on a road, upside down with her legs in the air, and had an injury to her head. And what we're really concerned about now is this eye. And she's opening her mouth okay. We're not worried about jaw issues or problems with her. Okay, excellent. Her ear looks okay. Just tilt her a little bit so I can see that eye. Yeah. Okay, well, it does look like the eye has been quite damaged, been ruptured, and it looks like the globe has been, like the actual round part of the eye has leaked out the fluid that's inside the eye. And so this is an eye then that is not viable. This eye will not be able to see in the future. And this will be okay for this turtle in that she can survive with only one eye. The question is, do we leave the eye in place? Eventually that eye will, if there's no complications, would shrink down, but it's quite a painful injury, and so the best solution would probably to have her looked at by an ophthalmologist. He'll be able to look at it a lot more closely with his equipment and make a decision regarding surgery. Now her head is slightly tilted. Is that because you're holding her shell?
While turtles can survive in the wild with only one eye, a head injury is a much more serious problem.
I mean, we also worry about damage to her brain or damage to her ear or something that will affect her balance. I mean, something else that would affect her survival in the wild. So, some of this may be just holding her head in different positions because she can't see on the left side, and maybe she's just kind of compensating by turning her head like that. But
she'll need to be monitored for a head injury. But first things first. This painted turtle is about to go on a day trip to the eye doctor.
Okay, well, I think what we'll do is we'll put her back in her enclosure for now. We'll contact the ophthalmologist and see if we can get her seen quickly, decide about the eye surgery. And we'll keep her on her pain medication for sure, but I'm pretty optimistic about this.
Meanwhile, Andrew White and Stacy Freeman of Toronto Wildlife Centre's rescue team have just received an urgent call from the hotline manager, Julia Pytrius.
I actually have a situation going on. It's a mama raccoon with a peanut butter jar stuck on her head. She's got 4 babies there with her, but she can't get the jar off.
Okay. Awesome. So that's the address?
Yep.
We'll be on our way there now.
Okay, awesome.
What is it?
A raccoon caught in a peanut butter jar may be a funny cliche to some, but for the raccoon, it's a matter of life and death.
All right, let's go. I'm gonna turn around.
On a hot summer day, this could result in severe heat stroke, dehydration, or starvation. Stacy and Andrew need to find her fast before it's too late.
Cut him out, make sure you don't catch his leg.
Fortunately, it's not too late for this lucky guy. A concerned resident called the hotline center to report a limping porcupine on his property. As soon as the porcupine arrived at the center, his treatment began. The medical team performed surgery to help drain the wound, but this injury is persistent. So not only did he get rescued, he got an enclosure built just for him.
So he's in this crate.
And it's a good thing, too. This porcupine has had a nasty gash to deal with.
He's had an abscess that's been very resilient for a couple of weeks now, and we were hoping that our last treatment of it took care of it. We built him this cage specifically so that we could monitor him here.
Lisa Fosco, the wildlife rehabilitation manager at Toronto Wildlife Centre, and head vet Dr. Heather Reed are hoping that the antibiotics he's been given have successfully cleared up his infection. But the only way to know is to get up close and personal.
So maybe we can just take a peek, and if he fights us or does anything, then we'll just stop and anesthetize him?
Yeah.
Does that sound like a good plan?
The plan is to make a quick determination and get out of his way.
With all of our cages and all of our animals that are being contained, we want to be very careful so that we are not in their space and we are not bothering them with our presence any more than need be. It does definitely decrease the stress level for the animal, and we want him to be as least stressed as possible. The other day, he came out of the crate, grabbed a carrot, went back in the crate, turned around and sat up eating it with his hands. It was, oh my God, it was so cute. I was just happy to see him upright.
It's good. It's nice to see him outside. He must be so much happier out here.
Oh, he's sitting in a pool of urine. Ow! Can you pull that quill out of my hand? Thank you. What's that? Plug. And there's pus. Okay, let's knock him down.
The goal at Toronto Wildlife Centre is to return an animal to the wild as quickly as possible, but they still have to be certain that he's fully recovered.
Well, it's not quite resolved. There's still a little bit of residual infection, so we want to knock him down and get a better look at that, figure out what to do next, because he's got to be completely cleared up before we send him to our other location to go outside. So in the other location, he'll be able to climb up trees, and it will be a lot harder to manage him there.
So for now, he's not going anywhere. An infection means a weaker animal, and being weak in the wild can quickly turn into being dead. Once a week, people put out their garbage, their recycling, and their leftover food for pickup. Nothing can be more tempting to a hungry, urbanized wild animal. The rescue team from Toronto Wildlife Centre has arrived in this residential area to save a raccoon who has managed to get her entire head stuck inside a plastic food container, specifically a peanut butter jar.
Do you want to go around and figure out which house it is?
The problem is they can't find her.
So we're really concerned because we hear that there's a mother raccoon, the mother of 4 little ones, who's somehow got some sort of container over its head. Likely recycling day, was the other day, and it went in for a quick lick, some peanut butter or something, and thunk, it's right over its head. So it can breathe still, but restricted. And obviously, it can't eat, it can't drink, it can't do anything having this container over its head. So our hope was to get here and it just be sitting in the tree, but it sounds like it's moved on with the family since. But just thought I heard something. Often they'll think that, oh, maybe it's rabid or has some sort of disease, that's why it's coming to you. No, it might just be coming for handouts. So not a good thing to feed the animals, but also helpful for us if it's already gone on, because we can lure them in and sometimes catch them that way. I hear suspicious sounds over here. Yep, there she is. There she is. We found her. Bring the other net. Let's not worry about cage right now. Let's just get her. She's right there, flat, right there. Okay, I'm gonna go back here and jump down in with her, and her only escape route will be out through this way. So yeah, you keep one of everything. I keep one of everything. Lots of running around. Yeah, I will get her for sure. Okay, here we go. Coming, coming, coming. Got her. Stay down, girl. Okay, she's really fighting. I'd like to lift her up right here. So remember, she can't bite because her head's covered. Just be real careful, huh? Because she's really smart. It's great knowing that she can't bite. Keep her locked. Comfortable with her?
Yeah.
Because she's gonna fight as soon as I let go. Twist this once more. Okay. Just get her down somewhere on grass and keep her pinned. I'm gonna let go, it's very heavy.
Okay.
Yeah, so normally we would probably take her, but because she has babies, we're gonna just remove it and let her go right here, right now. Just see what we were talking about. Yeah, here it comes. Ready? Okay, just let her take a breath. We just see how she's doing. Okay, let her go. Let's let her go that way. She'll be most comfortable. Yeah, right there. Right there's good. Thank you, my man. That's awesome. Whew. All right, we got the peanut butter jar off her head. Definitely her. You can tell that that's the mom for sure, for many reasons. And, you know, it would have been nice to see her back at the hospital, but she's got 4 little ones relying on her. She's a good, strong mom. There she goes, up over the fence. Now she can go. She's probably so hot, not being able to breathe and in this temperature. Oh, yes, we got her.
Back at the center, Lisa is preparing to take a more thorough look at this porcupine's abscess. It still seems to be causing him some pain, so the team wants to check on the infection.
So we've given him something to calm him down a little bit, but he's not fully sedated, fully anesthetized. Just get his head high enough to get the anesthesia on him. And give him a moment to kind of fall asleep.
Dr. Heather Reed is conducting the examination.
So this is where the drain is coming out. This is something that we put in his surgery because he had a very large area of infection over his hip that kind of originated from a poke up here. So there's a puncture wound up here, which I should also check, over his hip there. And you can see there, it looks like it's getting better. You think?
Yeah, looks great.
Then all the pus, I guess, was collecting in this area here. So we had to go in, flush it out, and then put this drain in. So this lets all the pus drain out on the area that's hanging down, and rather than collecting inside. Maybe we should just flush it today and maybe rethink
Looks like it's still draining.
the antibiotic choice.
I think the pocket is the biggest key because there was so much coming out of it before. So if there's a slight drainage,
I don't
that's
feel
better.
an obvious pocket, but actually, yes, I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
I mean, he's just feeling
On the back of the leg, is that where you
so
have it
much
more?
better as far as like his behavior, and he's eating so well, and he's chattering and more aggressive. But like it's certainly not as bad as it was the first few times. That's for sure.
Ready? So what we're going to do is we're going to irrigate this hole and flush it out because obviously it's still infected. The pocket itself is getting smaller, which is typically how they heal. But again, because it's still a little bit productive, we would want to continue flushing it out and keeping that drain in there so it's able to drain out on its
Are you
own.
able to kind of milk that in? It's tricky. I got prickles here.
It's like, how do you do this?
Like your
without your
easiest
quilt?
patient.
Okay, looks pretty good. So hopefully we've now taken care of the entire abscess. The antibiotics have done their work and it will just seal up and heal up fine. If that's the case, then the next step would be preparing him for his release.
The antibiotics seem to be working, but the staff is still concerned that the infection isn't healing fast enough. The longer a wild animal is in captivity, the harder it is on him, and the team is worried he won't make a full recovery. Michelle is a volunteer veterinarian at Toronto Wildlife Centre. She's arrived at the eye clinic with a painted turtle. This turtle was likely hit by a car, and her eye has been badly injured. Michelle and the rest of the rehab team are hoping Dr. Joe Wolfer, a veterinary ophthalmologist who volunteers for the center, can help decide on the best treatment for this turtle.
So you made it here with your turtle?
Yes,
Yeah.
finally.
All right, very good. So what kind of turtle is it?
This is a painted turtle.
Painted turtle. Okay. All right. Well, I think we can accommodate that. We'll have a look. Okie dokie. Are you good at holding, like to hold the head out of the shell? Yeah. Okay.
It's pretty hard to examine a turtle's head if she decides to tuck it back into her shell.
Eyelids on you and make it really.
Luckily, Michelle has done this before.
Yeah, that's good right there. And they are correct. This eye has been punctured and some of the, the internal contents are protruding out of the eye. It's very swollen and it looks infected, so I would, she might be feeling punky from that.
It's clear that the eye can't be saved. So the next question is whether it's worth removing it altogether in the hopes that this would make the recovery process a little easier on the turtle.
Oh yeah, and there's pus or something coming out of the nose as well. I do not know what that's all about. I don't know. I've never taken the eye out of a turtle before, so I don't know if we could even do that. We could definitely start some systemic antibiotics. Do you know what they would generally use? Or what's that?
Ceftazidime or ceftazidime.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that would do. Okay, so that's all I'd recommend for now. I suppose we could try and take the eye out. Boy, it'd be really tough on a turtle this small, like really tough. Both the anesthesia and just the procedure. I mean, I've got small instruments, but that would be tough. So
It's not good news. Aside from recommending painkillers, there's not much even a specialist can do for this little turtle. Dr. Joe is reluctant to take a risk on a turtle this small.
just never done it before. Yeah, that's always a concern. So, I don't know. Anyway, hopefully antibiotics do the trick. And then the eye will just kind of, if you get the infection under control, the eye's just going to shrivel down into tiny little and regress and then be fine.
Okay.
So,
Now that the turtle's treatment plan has been determined, Michelle will take her back to the center for care. It's been 4 weeks since this injured porcupine was rescued by the team at Toronto Wildlife Centre and brought into the center for an assessment. A stubborn abscess was badly infected, and the medical team was forced to resort to surgery in order to address the problem and give the porcupine the best chance to heal.
The area that's hanging down.
Now the abscess is completely gone, and this guy is suffering no more pain or discomfort. It's time for his release. Sarah Castillo and Stacy Freeman have just arrived in one of the many pristine green spaces in and about the Greater Toronto Area. It's far enough from residences and main roads, but still close enough to where he was first found.
So this is a great porcupine release spot. He was found here, which is perfect. I think we'll have to open the whole entire kennel cab and we'll just let him walk into the field so we can see him walk, which is really nice. And we can see, lets him make his decision in terms of where he wants to go.
It's so nice to see an animal back in the wild, back where it's supposed to be, knowing that it's going to, well, at least assuming it's going to do well and it's going to be able to, you know, make more babies and do things like that and help its species as a whole.
I'm so excited. Me too. It's nice to see this guy go back after being in care for so long.
Obviously, knowing their biology and their behavior and their ecology really helps, so we get to determine exactly, you know, where they should be going and what time they need to be released to give them the best chance to survive in the wild.
So I'm thinking right by that fallen tree. Let's drop him down. Let's just back away and let him do his thing. That's really cute.
It's fairly common for the animal to wait a while before leaving the crate, but Sarah is still a bit worried that it may not be dark enough.
You definitely want to make sure you're choosing the right time of day, the right area for the release for these animals, because you don't want something horrible to happen.
And then the porcupine does exactly what the team had hoped for.
Oh, he looks so good.
It almost seems as though he recognizes the area because once he's out, he's ready to go.
There he goes.
So for porcupines, they're more nocturnal animals. They're most active at nighttime, but they do increase their activity going into the dark. So we released him a little early, a little kind of at dusk. The other thing is, because he's going to a deep forest, it's going to be dark in there. So he's going to have the protection he needs no matter what. So I mean, the time we released him allows us to actually see him go into the forest and make those decisions that we want to see him making without being so dark we can't actually see what's happening. I think for this release, where we placed the kennel cab and let him make his decision as to like where in the forest he wanted to go exactly, gave him his best option. We didn't force him to one area. We kept it far enough back that he could decide where he wants to go, and I think it went smoothly. I wasn't really concerned about anything.
Oh, that's awesome.
While the porcupine has finally returned back to the wild, it's not quite as happy an ending for the painted turtle. Unfortunately, her injuries were more severe than the team had hoped, and she did not survive. Beth and assistant Tim are in the operating room saving the turtle's eggs.
Tim, this is one of our turtles that we've had in care for a little while. She was hit by a car and had some trauma to her eyeball. Unfortunately, she did not make it. She has died. Her eye clearly wasn't her only issue, unfortunately. But she does have some eggs inside of her that we're now going to try to recover. So even though this turtle didn't make it, at least once we have the eggs out, they will hopefully hatch in the fall, and we'll be able to release them back into the pond where their mother was found. I have done this a number of times before. I really do find it a great thing to do. It's of course really unfortunate that this turtle didn't make it, but I love the fact that I can still possibly save her hatchlings and release them back. You know, we did lose one turtle, which is very, very sad, but we could possibly release 8 more.
It's always very sad for everyone at Toronto Wildlife Centre when a patient dies. But on the positive side, the eggs can be saved. And if they hatch at the Wildlife Centre, they have an excellent chance of survival.
This whole process is completely worth it because really turtles, it takes such a long time for them to become adults that being able to save some of the babies from them can make a huge difference in the species. So this turtle has 8 eggs, and the fact that we got to them quickly gives them a really good chance of hatching. So hopefully we'll now have 8 baby painted turtles to release either in the early fall, or we'll keep them and release them next spring.